For the Google add-ons, the first one that I am going to show you how to do on this form is Choice Eliminator. Now, you can think of ways that you might be able to use this for particular quiz questions, but when I choose Choice Eliminator, and again, you should have this add-on in your Google Forms already, because I added it to the domain. I press Configure, and on the right-hand side, what this is going to allow me to do, gives me a little warning there, it works well with drop-down types of questions. It doesn't work as well with multiple choice. But what I can do here is I can choose one of these questions that once an option is selected, that option will disappear for the next people that are taking this form. And so if I have the student's name here, once they select their name, it's going to disappear from that list. Now that might seem like something that's unnecessary for this type of question, but you might think of a question where you might want to have an option disappear. Now, I haven't found it to be completely reliable, but in this case, I have the types of questions throughout this form that I can choose to have choices get eliminated from, so that students that are taking that afterwards, that are the next people to do that question, won't see that option because it's already been selected by somebody else. So the only types of questions that allows me to do that for are multiple choice or a basic multiple choice or a basic checkbox question or drop-down. And so in this case, I selected my first question, which is name, and I selected it to eliminate choices. And if I look to choice options, it will tell me the amount of times, the limit that an option can be selected. So in this case, for each of these students, I have the limit, the amount of times that option can be chosen. So if I do that for this question, choices will get eliminated. And this might be useful if you guys are doing a group project or something like that, and you want students to choose from a list of a project where you don't want all of the students to be doing the same thing. So you can give them a list of options in a form, send that form to them, and once a student has selected a topic, that topic will disappear from the list for the students afterwards. So again, I could do this for all three of these if I wanted to. Right now I'm not configuring this one to eliminate choices because that's part of the question, but I did it for this first one, and that's how Choice Eliminator works. The next add-on I wanted to show you is called Doc Appender. And what this does is it will take any submissions to my form, and I can take one of these I choose a question from here, and I can have any submission, anybody that selects student 1, for example, I can have all of their responses get recorded in a Google Doc in a particular folder that I've made in Google Drive. Now this can be useful because after a quiz, you're going to have everything saved automatically in a Google Sheet. But if you want particular questions, or if you want the entire quiz, all of the responses, to be recorded in a Google Doc, I can do it using this add-on. So you'll see here that it asks me to choose a target doc folder. Inside this folder, which I have here, and I had to make this folder, I have final exam responses. So I created this folder, and inside this folder, I want my responses to get recorded based on this first question. So what I did was I created this folder inside my Google Drive. You need to create it. And in here, I have a document for every one of my students that I have in the form. So I have student 1 through student 9. I created these. Then in my Google form, you'll see this first question, I have students 1 through 9. So I create the folder where I want the responses to go. I can create that in here, but I created it in my Google Drive and just selected it. Then I press Next. And then I need to choose the question that will determine which document to append with form submissions. So I can choose from a couple of my different questions here. Again, basic questions. So the basic drop-down, basic checkbox, basic multiple choice. But in this case, I chose name, which is this first question. I don't want to include an all of the above option because that's going to add an option down here that says all of the above. But I press save and populate the selected question. Then if I press next, it's going to load the questions that I want to have saved in those documents. So here I've already selected every question I have here except for this is actually the video, so that doesn't count as a question. But I've selected them all here. So I can deselect some of these if I want to, if I don't want all of the answers to the form there. But maybe I want just the essay questions there, or just the short answer questions or something like that. Something to keep it, to be able to store it in someplace other than a Google Sheet. Then I could select the username, which is recorded automatically when students take this form, and their name. And I can choose down here how I want that formatted. So I can have separate bulleted lists, which I kind of like how that looks, separate vertical tables, or rows in a single horizontal table. So I've selected, or I'm going to select separate bulleted lists. And I press save. Now, when students pick one of these, find their list in this, or find their name in this list, and they select that and go to the next question, it's automatically going to know, okay, once the student submits, all of those responses go into the document for student 1, or student 2, or student 3. And so that's how Doc Appender works.